FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
But so are we no different than the Japanese? Are we going to have a romance with robots and it just hasn't emerged yet? Or will our culture handle robots differently than Japanese?
Oh, for sure, our culture will handle them differently. But it's noteworthy to see what Japan has done. They targeted this decades ago. They saw their aging society, and they realized their choice was they either had to have more children, bring in immigrants, or create artificial humanoids to do the work. And they're opting for number 3, that Japan is going to become a robotic society. And
how about us?
We'll do it too, haltingly, badly, in an entrepreneurial way, kind of the usual messy way. Messiness, it's something you and I have talked about before. There's a real issue here about jobs. We've always had, as you've observed, that new technology may destroy old jobs, but it also creates more jobs than it destroys. That may not be the case with a world of ubiquitous manufacturing robots. We may see sometime, it's not going to happen soon, but 20 years or so, we may really see a world where the jobs are taken over by machines and
Yeah. One data point.
It's
here.
the leisure society, except you don't get paid.
Where this came home to me was actually in 1992 when AT&T deployed the first operator assistance system in the network. It recognized 5 words: yes, no, collect, credit card, and operator. And from those 5 words, they saved $200 million a year in labor costs. So I've kept looking at this space because the numbers are just so staggering. What happens when you have a conversational machine? What does happen when you have a conversational machine?
Well, first of all, we've seen this happening elsewhere. Japan was automating its subway system back in the 90s, and the robots were driving the trains. And they kept a human operator with their hand on a dead man's switch to take over in case the robot screwed up. Then they quietly started removing the operators because after a year of testing, they realized that all the screw-ups were happening because the bored human was accidentally hitting the switch. So what you see are industries calving off like icebergs. Just a whole industry drops away. Suddenly the human operators disappear from the phone system. So what happens if you have a robot you have a conversation with? Well, there's this thing called the Turing test. And the idea is that you'll create a computer device that, when presented to a human being in a certain way, is indistinguishable from another human being. I've always wondered that when we finally do have a device that passes the Turing test, we're going to discover that a lot of our human friends don't pass it.
Well, no, that's already happened. They had the first Turing test, I think, in probably 1991, and I went up to watch it. And this sounds unbearably elitist, but the striking thing from the first Turing test is how many people, they grabbed people off the street, and how many people failed the test. I mean, a computer scientist could pass it, but people off the street couldn't pass it.
There's that, and there's the other observation that Jaron Lanier has made, that artificial intelligence makes people stupid. I have an artificially intelligent telephone system, so my phone is answered by a phone agent called Wildfire. And the moment people realize they're talking to a computer, they talk real slowly and clearly. So, intelligent computers in some ways really do make us stupid.